Welcome to Reuters Events Pharma 2025 here in Barcelona. I'm delighted to be joined by Ramji Vasudevan, who is Head of Life Sciences at Altimetrik. Welcome to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sue. Delighted to be here.
So much going on. It's really, really exciting. What about the work that you do for your clients? What about the impact and maturity of AI in the pharmaceutical space?
Absolutely. I think, the AI space in pharma is really gaining a lot of traction. We are seeing customers moving from AI in small pockets in experiment phases, moving that into mainstream as they go along. And there is a lot of potential that is getting uncovered in the wider industry as well, particularly in the drug discovery with recent findings from AlphaFold 3, for example. It has opened up a lot of possibilities on what pharma companies can do in terms of accelerating the drug discovery. Likewise, in other segments of pharma industries as well, whether it is manufacturing and supply chain or commercial, we are seeing a lot of potential getting unlocked with AI right now.
In your keynote speech that you gave, you touched on AI readiness maturity of organizations. What can you share about that?
One of the things that we are seeing with the pharma companies is what we call the streetlight effect. It's very brief anecdote. It goes something like a person loses the key, searches under a streetlight, and there is a cop who comes by, asks him what's going on, and then he's like, I lost my key. I'm looking for it here. So they start searching together. A while later, they almost are about to give up, and the cop asks, where did you lose it? Are you sure you lost it here? And he's like, no, I lost it somewhere near the park. And the cop is perplexed. Why are you looking for it here then? And the guy goes, oh, well, this is where I have the light. So in many ways, what we are seeing in pharma industry as well is 80% of the data that the pharma industries hold, vast treasure troves of data, are untapped. They are not being utilized or leveraged for decision making. And there is therefore a decision paralysis, value chasm in terms of what the data can provide in terms of decision making versus actionable insights. And that was what the keynote was about. How do organizations take meaningful steps towards narrowing that gap?
So do you have answers to that? What are perhaps some of the factors that can drive that success, the return on investment in AI, which most companies are making now?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, there are a few key things that we're saying. There could be a range of different aspects that could contribute to nudging along the AI maturity curve, but the four important things that we posit are making sure there is a good data maturity and in terms of gathering all the data in what we call as a single source of truth, making sure that they are findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, so that people are able to look for the data and start getting insights. So that's on the data maturity itself. And the second vector there is really about the maturity of the analytics. And analytics is what the business is looking for. Most often they know their KPIs really well, but then it's about how do all the business context comes together end to end, not just a function's KPIs, but if it's manufacturing, it's not really about manufacturing on the shop floor, but how does it translate to moving from the shop floor to essentially to your cold chain, to the end receiver, to how does it get ingested to the patient. The end-to-end analytics of it, how does it actually come together and help support making business decisions. So that maturity is another vector that we posit is going to be very useful. The third one is how do people do that at scale? And oftentimes we see that there are pharma organizations who are very good in terms of creating all the data platforms and getting all the data in one place, but it essentially doesn't give insights and what we call as data swamps. Therefore, because analysts, people are able to get the data to talk, it's really not going to be useful. On the other side, we also see really brilliant AI use cases come out of working off data from the Excel sheets, and that is great to prove value and as a POV. But then how do we move that or nudge that from a proof of value to something more tangible. And that is where we say, like, for data maturity and analytics maturity to count, it has to be of enterprise value, and it has to be easy to adopt and govern for everybody in the enterprise. And all of this underlying has to be supported by a strong sense of do we have the right talent on board, in terms of the thought process to drive the change in terms of the key resources needed for them to think about driving agile, incremental, iterative ways of building value. Those are also key.
And so when you're working with clients trying to address those issues, is it a very bespoke solution that you come up with? Do you have any examples of how you've helped a company move forward in this way?
Yeah, and depending on where each of our customers are, we sometimes even recommend them to buy solutions off the shelf as well. In some other cases, it's completely bespoke, and in certain other cases, it's really a combination of what's available off the shelf with some hybrid options along the way. So it's really a range of options that are available. It really depends on where the organization is, what their data maturity is at, how fast do they want to get to their end goal and business goals, etc. as well. But there are excellent examples of how we have brought this to life in certain customers that we are currently working with. One big pharma company, for example, they have been trying to get some control tower of sorts in terms of visualizing all the manufacturing shop floor activities, and where does their yield come from? Do they have challenges with making those medicines? Do they have deviations? Do they have corrective actions that need to be taken? All of those in one central control tower, and it's something that we have been able to build for them iteratively over a period of time, taking one KPI, one slice at a time, prove value, take it to the business, take feedback, and then keep going from there.
And here at Reuters Events Pharma, you've got a theme, vision to value, delivering AI across pharma value chain. What does that actually mean? What does that translate as?
Yeah, I mean, just so going back to the streetlight effect story that we were, the anecdote that we were talking about, essentially that's what we want to look at and see how we can work with our pharma customers to solution for. There is a lot of value in getting all the data to speak for broader insights and decision making, but then there has to be a certain specific way in which it has to be brought together, value realized, and governed so that it can scale and it doesn't become a science project, which then is casted away after a couple of months or years. So, and that's the theme that we brought to this conference as well. We wanted to see, based on our experiences working with some of the big customers and also medium and small ones, there are a lot of similarities in the way the industry looks at taking value out of data. There are really some pockets of excellent examples and great positive outcomes that we have seen as well. There are good lessons to learn, there are good inspirations to take from, and we wanted to see how we can drive that conversation forward for our pharma customers.
That's very, very positive. Thank you very much indeed
You're
for
welcome,
those
sir.
insights. It's been great talking with you. Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.